Hello everyone, welcome back to Sports Khabri. Curious Harry and Arun Foot. Well, after a while, we're on time. It's exactly 9:30. Impeccable timing by us today. But anyways, yeah, we're here for Uzbekistan's sort of squad analysis. We're going to see what threats the Uzbek team will bring when they face India, and yeah, how tough a challenge it is going to be as compared to somebody like Australia, who we've already spoken about. So yeah, that's the agenda for today, guys. Good evening, Arnava. Coming to you first. Uzbekistan, what sort of challenge are they going to bring to the table?
Good evening, everyone, and warm welcome as well. And today, let's start a little differently. Like, share, and subscribe, so to say, all the channels. I think that's always important. We see that a lot of people are watching the videos but are not liking the videos, or are sharing the videos, or are liking the respective channels. So please do that, because that gives us, the support and also the will to continue doing these videos on a regular basis. Coming to speak about Uzbekistan, I think Uzbekistan is amongst the toughest teams that you can face in Asian football, and it's a team which, of course, has that certain rushiness in them, which means that they're, from a physical perspective, very strong, very very solid in their football when it comes to the technical side of things, and that makes it sort of a tough opponent for us. And again, I find that's a different kind of challenge than Australia. But Uzbekistan, also looking at, we were speaking about the Australians the other night, Uzbekistan might be the tougher opponent. I think a lot of people think that Australia is the tougher opponent, but I feel, also having seen Navbahar take on Mumbai City, Nasaf recently beating ATK Mohun Bagan at the time in the AFC Cup, that's very, very important. I feel that we, focus on that, and again, but focus on them once we're done with the Australians.
Yep. Asti Satya saying, even if you miss the live, you end up watching offline. Thanks so much. Love the support. But yeah, Arnava just spoke about Uzbekistan. We've seen Navbahar take on Mumbai City, the sort of challenge they're going to bring. Hiren, are they going to be happy not with India probably having the majority of the ball like we did see against Mumbai City? Is that something that they would like to do and then hit on the counter and hit effectively?
I think so, because they have a individual quality players कि जिनके पास individual brilliance है, and they can produce a moment like that. वो already हमने नवबोर का, I think number 10 का मैं नाम भूल गया, उन्होंने जो गोल मारा था अवे में, that was मतलब आपको लग रहा था कि फर्स्ट हाफ में you can say कि मुंबई सिटी ने अच्छा खेला, लेकिन जैसे सेकंड हाफ स्टार्ट हुआ एंड उसने जिस तरह से वो गोल प्रोड्यूस किया, so that is the big threat for India कि उसको किस तरह से रोका जाए. एंड पर्टिकुलरली आई थिंक डी के बाहर, आई थिंक जितना भी हम फाउल कंसीड करेंगे, देयर विल बी ऑलवेज अ थ्रेट कि हम यहाँ पे कंसीड करने के चांस रहेंगे. दूसरा एक चीज मेरे को जो लगता है उनके लिए पॉजिटिव ये भी है कि उनके, आई थिंक जो मोस्ट ऑफ द प्लेयर है वो आई थिंक बंच में साथ में खेलते हैं थ्रू आउट द ईयर. जैसे आप देखिए पख्तापुर के काफी ज्यादा प्लेयर है, 3-4 प्लेयर नवबोर के हैं, तो वो आप देखिए पूरा सीजन साथ में खेलते हैं, तो वो भी एक इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है कि अंडरस्टैंडिंग उतनी ज्यादा बेटर होती है. ऑस्ट्रेलिया के अगर आप देखें तो मोस्ट ऑफ द प्लेयर आर कमिंग फ्रॉम ए लीग्स, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट क्लब्स, एंड ऑल्सो फ्रॉम द यूरोप. सो उतना ज्यादा वो रेगुलरली साथ में नहीं खेलते. नेशनल टीम के लिए पूरा साल मतलब कुछ ही मैचेस साथ में खेलते हैं, उसमें भी इंजरी रहता है, सो उतना टाइम नहीं मिलता. लेकिन अब अगर उज्बेकिस्तान टीम और उनकी टीम में ये जरूर बात है कि उनके मोस्ट ऑफ द प्लेयर आर फ्रॉम द उज्बेक लीग, एंड वहां से 2-3 प्लेयर उनके नो डाउट फ्रॉम यूरोपियन लीग से भी है. सो आई थिंक वो भी एक इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है. एंड आई थिंक ओवरऑल इंडिविजुअल ब्रिलियंस सर ने जैसे बोला, आई थिंक जो एक उसमें रशियसनेस है, आई थिंक वो क्लियरली शो होती है कंपैरेटिव टू अगर आप दूसरे जो भी आप कजाकिस्तान या फिर किर्गिस्तान या फिर दूसरी कंट्रीज है उनसे अगर कंपेयर करेंगे, तो उज्बेकिस्तान में वो ज्यादा मतलब एक निखर के आता है, और उनकी जो स्टाइल ऑफ फुटबॉल या फिर उनके जो प्लेयर है वो भी ज्यादा लगते हैं कि हाँ ये रशियन प्लेयर है, आप ज्यादा डिफरेंशिएट नहीं कर सकते. एंड आई थिंक टेक्निकलिटी वाइज दे आर रियली रियली सॉलिड. सो आई थिंक वो चैलेंज में ज्यादा देख रहा हूँ कि ज्यादा वो कोशिश नहीं करेंगे. आई थिंक वो खुश होंगे कि भाई चलो इंडिया भले कितना पोजीशन रख ले, कुछ भी कर ले, बट आई थिंक 10-15 मिनट का वो क्या बोलते कि एकदम से वो आएगा प्रेस, एंड वहां पे हम शायद गोल कंसीड कर जाएंगे, फिर से वो स्लो डाउन हो जाएंगे. एंड आई थिंक इस तरह से गेम प्लान डेफिनेटली उनका रह सकता है.
Okay, interesting, Arnava. So Arju Babu is asking, what will their sort of style be? Are they going to play through the middle when they have the ball, or are they going to go long, direct? What is the approach that we see from the Uzbek side?
I think the Uzbeks are a team which is flexible in their approach, depending on the opponent. It speaks about their quality. I think they have the opportunity to go to direct through the middle, but they can also go via the wings. They are dangerous if needed, also in dead ball situations, be it corners, be it free kicks. So therefore, that is something. Hiren was talking about Iskanderov, who scored that brilliant goal against Mumbai City in that away game in Uzbekistan. And we also saw in that, especially that Navbahar match against Mumbai City in Uzbekistan, that, in the first half, Mumbai City was, taking on them, challenging potentially. But then between the 46th and the 60th minute, they literally dismantled Mumbai City. And that is something which I felt, which is a danger. Again, we've seen that with Nasaf in the past as well. So therefore, for us, I think it's very, very important that we are cautious. What I said about Australia as well is that our defensive line has to be strong. Our defensive midfield has to be strong. And then we have to decide is what is going to be our style, what is going to be our way of attacking the opponent. Are we, building up on counterattacks? Are we waiting for our wingers to do that damage? Are we looking for our midfielders potentially looking for gaps in the middle? So therefore, we have to be sort of smart in the way we play, but never expose ourselves. I think that's the most important thing against Australia and against Uzbekistan. And I go back to the way Bangladesh, for example, played against Australians, where the Bangladeshis at some stage tried to play football against the Australians, and they got dismantled. So we have to be smart in that we need to be also realistic of what our football is, where we stand, and how can we challenge this team, and potentially look back at some of the successes Igor has had in the past, especially that 0-0 in Qatar against Qatar, in Doha in 2019, that 0-0. In the way we played. We played a defensive game, yes, but we hit Qatar a few times on the counter, and the often criticized Udanta actually in that game could have scored a winner. So we need to be smart, but this is a team which is going to come at us. Sergeyev and all these guys who are there, some of the best players play in Europe. The only good news I think at the moment is that their overall best player in Eldor Shumorodov is not going to be there. So that's a bit of a good news at the moment, that the man who's contracted to Roma is not going to play against us. But otherwise, again, they've got multiple players who can be a problem, can be a threat to us. So we need to be aware, and it's a game, our defensive midfield, they need to do the job.
Yeah, Hiren, Arnav spoke about the threats. Can you tell us some of the threats that they're going to bring to this game, and where we should sort of be careful about where?
आई थिंक नो डाउट अबाउट कि हमें यहाँ पे जो हमारी डिफेंसिव लाइन है वो तो सॉलिड रखनी है, लेकिन आई थिंक मैं कहीं ना कहीं देख रहा हूँ कि जो हमारे होल्डिंग मिडफील्डर एंड डिफेंसिव मिडफील्डर है उसका रोल काफी ज्यादा मैं देख रहा हूँ कि यहाँ पे क्रूशियल होने वाला है. एंड अगर वो यहाँ पे क्या बोलते कि जो उज्बेकिस्तान की मिडफील्ड को यहाँ पे चैलेंज कर पाते हैं, देन आई थिंक उतना कम आप यहाँ पे एक्सपोज होगे और उतना ज्यादा क्या बोलते कि गेम आप डीप लेके जा सकते हो. जितना आप गेम डीप लेके जाओगे, आई थिंक प्रेशर will mount on the Uzbekistan more, other than you can say कि India, and उतना ही ज्यादा आपको भी वहां पे चांस मिलेगा कि you can also score in the counter attack. So that will be really really important thing कि सर ने जैसे बोला कि आपको स्टार्टिंग से अगर आप भी थोड़ा सा क्या बोलते कि रिस्क लोगे, आई थिंक जैसे हमने काफी बार देखे कि हमारे प्लेयर्स चाहे गोलकीपर हो या फिर डिफेंसिव लाइन हो, कभी कभी वो रिस्क लेते हैं. आई थिंक उससे ज्यादा बेटर है कि स्टार्टिंग में थोड़ा सा सेफ स्टार्ट कीजिए. फर्स्ट हाफ में भले ही स्कोर 0-0 रहे, लेकिन जितना गेम डीप लेके जाने की कोशिश करोगे उतना ही ज्यादा आपको भी चांस मिलेगा कि आपके लिए भी स्कोर वहां पे बन सकते, क्योंकि फिर उज्बेकिस्तान को सिर्फ वो जो एक प्लान लेके आए होंगे उससे उसको शिफ्ट होना पड़ेगा. दे विल ट्राई टू डू मोर थिंग्स कि यहाँ पे अब हमें ये रास्ता अपनाना पड़ेगा, ये भी करना पड़ेगा, एंड उसमें कहीं ना कहीं आपके लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी बन सकती है. तो दैट्स दी फैक्टर जो यहाँ पे इंडिया को कंसीडर करना पड़ेगा. एंड आई थिंक उनकी जो जैसे मतलब सर ने बोला कि जो उनके आई थिंक बट उसको स्क्वाड में रखा गया है सर, एल्दोर सुमरेदो को यहाँ पे उन्होंने जो स्क्वाड अनाउंसमेंट की है उसमें उन्होंने रखा है. सो आई थिंक मे बी इंडिया के सामने मे बी अवेलेबल ना हो, लेकिन आगे उनके प्ले शायद हो सकते हैं.
आई थॉट अपडेटेड स्क्वाड में नहीं है. अपडेटेड स्क्वाड जो आज देखा, he is no longer. Yesterday he was in that expanded 28 squad, but he's supposedly
28
not in
28
the 26 में नहीं है. I'm just checking and let me see that official document I saw from AFC if I'm not wrong. But yeah, continue. Sorry, I'll just check it.
यस यस तो आई थिंक उसके मिडफील्ड में भी जैसे पोक्तापुर तो इस्कंदर है, फिर जेसूर है, आई थिंक बोबूर भी उनके बढ़िया प्लेयर है जो कि कजाकिस्तान की लीग में खेल रहे हैं फ्रंट लाइन में. दे आर आल्सो वेरी गुड. आई थिंक डिफेंसिव लाइन भी उनकी सॉलिड रहती है. हमने देखा है उनके पास आई थिंक हाइट एंड फिजिकलिटी का तो कोई इशू ही नहीं है उनके लिए. एंड इंडिया के लिए वो दिक्कत बन सकती है यहाँ पे. सो आई थिंक द गेम प्लान शुड बी कि भाई स्टार्टिंग में थोड़ा सा स्लो होके जाना है, इतना ज्यादा ही डायरेक्ट अटैक नहीं करना है. जैसे बांग्लादेश ने अपना नेचुरली गेम स्टाइल खेलने की कोशिश की एंड उसमें ही उन्होंने गोल भी कंसीड कर दिया. अगर देखिए आपने अगर फर्स्ट हाफ में गोल कंसीड कर दिया है एक दो गोल, देन आई थिंक उज्बेकिस्तान फिर आपके ऊपर मतलब क्या बोलते चढ़ जाएगा. फिर तो दे विल डिक्टेट द गेम. फिर आपके पास ज्यादा मौका, फिर आप और भी ज्यादा रिस्क लेने की कोशिश करोगे और उसमें आप गोल खाओगे. तो उससे बेटर है कि आप गेम को लंबा खींचिए एंड उनको कोशिश करने दीजिए, आपकी कॉम्पैक्टनेस बना के रखिए एंड देयर विल बी डेफिनेटली चांसेस. कितना भी आप सामने वाली टीम बढ़िया हो, आपको चांस तो मिलता ही है पूरे गेम में एंड यू हैव टू क्या बोलते कि पूरा जब चांस मिले उसको बरी करना है. आई थिंक दैट विल बी रियली रियली क्रूशियल. एंड आई थिंक ट्रांजिशन वाले जो हमारे प्लेयर है, आई थिंक वो मैं काफी ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड हूँ कि कौन से प्लेयरों को ईगो स्ट्रीमिंग यूज करता है फॉर दैट ट्रांजिशन. क्योंकि अगर आप काउंटर अटैक फुटबॉल खेलना चाहते हो तो आपके पास वो काफी क्विक ट्रांजिशन वाले प्लेयर होने चाहिए, अदरवाइज देयर इज अ नो यूज. सो दैट विल बी आल्सो वन ऑफ द क्रूशियल फैक्टर.
Yeah, just wanted to touch upon
Just
Abdul
just to
Qadir.
just to
Yeah,
ju-
yeah.
just to talk about Shomu Rodov, he is not in the final 26 player list. So I'm checking the
Okay.
official list from the AFC because he was part of the 28. So they're hoping there are a number of players who play in Europe who have picked up injuries over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, where the coaches are hoping the players are going to get fit. But he's one of those players. He is not part of the 26 player squad that I am reading, which is the official list that Srečko Katanec, their head coach, has now enlisted with the AFC, and that is for them a huge blow. I think that's a huge blow because that is the player. I mean, even though again it's a player that I think that most probably even the Uzbeks would have expected more. I mean, he's their best player. He's their captain normally. But again, the point here is it's a player that is missing from for them. But again, they have other players, and the interesting part, of course, is that they have a number of players who are playing in Russia, who are playing in Greece, in Turkey, in France, in the UAE. You have the number 10, Masha Pirov was the star player of Nasaf. Of Nasaf, I'm saying, of Al Nassr before Cristiano Ronaldo came in, right? So you know they've got quality, and that's something that again we talk a lot about Australia. There's a lot of focus on Australia because yes, the Australians play in a lot of them in the UK and not in the Premier League, but in the Championship or even lower than that. But I think Uzbekistan is going to be a tough nut to crack for us.
Yeah, just to talk about the depth, Abdul Qadir Kusanov, 19-year-old centre, he's just 7 caps for the national team. He plays for Law. I actually got to see him play against Arsenal. He came on for I think, about 30 minutes in the second leg, and was really impressed because young player, but a lot of confidence. But again, just sort of tells you the sort of depth these guys have. Champions League experience at 19 years of age. So, yeah, I mean, that's the sort of depth that this team carries.
Rahul, that shows the level of the player they have.
Exactly.
I mean, there is a sheer quality. So, if you go with the one versus one situation, you are dead. So you have to go with you have to play smartly. आप बोलेंगे कि हम हमारी फुटबॉल खेल लेंगे और हम यहाँ पे क्या बोलते हैं कि हम भी अटैकिंग माइंडसेट के साथ जाएंगे. Then I think आप कुछ ज्यादा ही मेरे हिसाब से ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस में चल रहे हो. You have to also see you can say कि strength and weaknesses of opponent की कहाँ पे उनको ज्यादा ट्रबल आती है. उसके अकॉर्डिंग आपको प्लान भी बनाना पड़ता है. सिर्फ आप अपने हिसाब से प्लान बनाओगे देन वो बैकफायर होने के चांसेस ज्यादा है. तो आई थिंक इंडिया को यहाँ पे दोनों मैच, मैं सिर्फ उज्बेकिस्तान की मैच की बात नहीं करूंगा कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया वाला मैच भी स्मार्टली खेलना है, बिकॉज आपको जो एम करना है इन दोनों में से मैच में अगर आप 1 पॉइंट लेते हो सीरिया के सामने आप जीतते हो तो आपका जो 4 पॉइंट है वो आपको इनफ है टू गो इनटू द नेक्स्ट राउंड. एंड ऐसे ही मैच बाय मैच लेना पड़ेगा रादर देन थिंकिंग अबाउट टू मच. सो आई थिंक दैट्स द थिंग. एंड ईगो स्टीमिक साहब ने वैसे अभी रिसेंटली जो सैन भाई ने इंटरव्यू किया था राहुल, उसमें बोला था कि हम अटैकिंग माइंडसेट के साथ जाएंगे, लेकिन मेरे को लगता नहीं कि वो होगा क्योंकि आई थिंक उसमें रिस्क भी ज्यादा है, उसमें चांसेस भी ज्यादा है, क्योंकि देखिए अगर आप अटैकिंग गए तो आप कितने गोल मार लोगे, आपकी जिस तरह की फिनिशिंग है और जिस तरह की आपके फाइनल थर्ड की वो है डिसीजन मेकिंग, उससे मेरे को लगता है कि आप मिला जुला के 2 से मैक्सिमम, अगर बहुत ही अच्छा दिन रहा तो 3 गोल चले जाएंगे, लेकिन सामने वाली टीम आपको फिर 5-6 पेल देगी, तो ये भी तो सामने रिस्क है आपके सामने, rather than
Yeah.
losing a 5-3, 6-3, 5-2, 4-2. I think you have to go for a 1-0, 1-1, 2-1 type of score line, कि जहाँ पे आप पूरे मैच में बने रहो.
Yeah. Igor Stimac is saying we have to be aware of Oston Uranov, who's playing for Navbahar, and he scored 3 in the Champions League this season. So yeah, that's another threat that we need to be aware of from midfield. Darknet saying if we attack, we're doomed. Arnav, is that something that we need to keep in mind? So should we enter these games sort of defensively and play on the counter?
We have to play smartly. As I said, I think our biggest problem at the moment is that our backline is not the backline that we would like to play. I think our backline is the most unstable area of the field for us. And you have to find means and ways of stabilizing your backline, stabilizing your defensive midfield. And the question now is, does Igor Stimac say that that we are in a position of saying, okay, do I play a third centre back, or do I play a third guy in defensive midfield, where one of the 3 defensive midfielders then becomes an attacking player? So that has to be the one where Igor Stimac has to play around and find, and that's the question of how to play, because I think if we play ultra defensive and try to soak up the pressure for 90 minutes, it will not work. We will concede goals at some stage. So therefore, very, very important for us to be smart in the way we play, and therefore I'd say is we need to look how the team is able to play its best with the given things, and try and be destructive in not allowing the opponent to play their natural game. To some extent, let's say what Manolo Marquez did with FC Goa against Mumbai City, right? Or even against the Kerala Blasters. Yes, they played on the counter, but they actually tried to destroy the opponent's game, which they smartly did. So we have to be smart. Our players need to be smart, and that's going to be the challenge in the first 2 matches. Try and destroy the play of the opponent, and whenever you get the chance, you have to be really, really sharp. You will not get 10, 15 chances. You might get 2 or 3. And from the 2 or 3, if 1 or 2 need to be in, if you have any chance of causing an upset, again, that needs to be. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. So therefore, I hope that the team does it, and let's hope that it works out.
Yeah,
I think Rahul, sorry to interrupt, but Igor Stimac has a very interesting question. कि क्या हम एक एक्स्ट्रा मिडफील्डर डाल सकते हैं इन प्लेस ऑफ, यू कैन से की फॉरवर्ड लाइन, 3 फॉरवर्ड के अलावा दो यू कैन से 2 आप क्या बोलते हैं कि फॉरवर्ड प्लेयर लेके जाए, एंड with the 4 midfielder and then back 4.
Now, I would rather go with 4-3-3 itself, but play play without an attacking midfielder. So play Apuya, Suresh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I would prefer, even over.
But we're not playing 4-3-3.
As in whatever you want to call it. I mean, basically.
I mean, if you're playing 3 in the middle. I think you're either playing 4-5-1 or 5-4-1.
Yeah, 4-5-1 basically, pretty much.
Yeah. So the question is now is, do you put that extra man in defense and play a 3-man middle back line with 2 wing backs and put 4 in front of you, or do you play that 4-man and then you play sort of a 4-3-2-1? Let's put it this way, that way. That's the challenge, I think, to find out. Is it, do I try and put in Deepak Tangri, or do I say Sandesh Jhingan plus Beke plus Preetham?
Yeah.
I think that's the discussion I would have, because I think Apuya and Suresh are a given.
Yeah.
Now it's the question is how do you build your heart of your defense and your heart of your midfield? Because in Apuya, you have someone who, if he needs to be, he can be creative. And if he's learned a few of the things from Ahmed Jahu, then it's potentially to play and spray the ball wide to his wingers, or potentially to spread it forward for Sunil to try and race and grab.
Yeah, Arnav, I think for me, like personally, I would have Thapa in there. So I'd have basically two eights and 1 6, or 2 6s and 1 8. So you um, Apuya and Thapa can
Suresh.
play.
So,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
either way. I
Because
mean, whoever you want,
my
they're all
my
quite
cons-
flexible.
my concern is, and normally I would agree with you, is the last two matches from Thapa that I've seen for Mohan Bagan. That is my only concern. He looked very,
Exactly.
very tired. He looked very tired, and you realized he's coming from an injury, and you realized also the pressure that, of course, there was there at the club. So the question is, if we can get a Thapa back from 2019 of the Asian Cup, Thapa starts, no question about it. But the question here is, if I want to be a little bit more defensive, let us see. And I know Igor too much what you're saying, that Igor has said he considers Pritham Kotal more of a right back. But if he's wanting to play three at the back, he will most probably go for experience. He will rather potentially go for a Pritham Kotal than trying out a Mehtab Singh or a Lalchand Dunga. So that's the interesting one. You've got this heart of our field is sort of say the big question. If I consider that Akash is given, Nikhil Pujari is a given. It's either Changte or Manvir on one wing and Mahesh, or even Mahesh or Changte. Could be very interesting how he plays it. So that's going to be interesting. And welcome Dinesh. Good evening. And Amal saying that Rahul KP is now injured also. Rahul KP had an injury. He picked it up in Kolkata. He picked it up against Mohan Bagan. So that is another concern of that we have certain players who are not 100% who are 100% fit. So that's that makes it difficult.
Yeah. Well, there was a question, I think, from Lord BK itself, Hiren. Do you want to see India play with the ball, or do you want to see them sit back? Same sort of question. Just want to see what you think about India's approach and how it should be for this game.
I think अगर आप ईगो स्टिमिक का प्लेइंग स्टाइल देखें तो कोशिश तो करेगी इंडिया बॉल रखने की. आई थिंक पूरा तो अल्ट्रा डिफेंसिव तो नहीं जाएंगे मेरे हिसाब से भी, क्योंकि अगर वो जाएंगे फिर भी हम कंसीडर कर जाएंगे. आई थिंक 90 मिनट आई थिंक डिफेंड करना इज अ वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टास्क, क्योंकि मतलब एग्जीक्यूट करना सबसे बड़ा इश्यू है यहाँ. दिक्कत चाहे आप कितना भी कोई सा भी प्लान लेके जाओ, चाहे आप डिफेंसिव लेके जाओ, मिड ब्लॉक लेके जाओ, या फिर पोजीशन बेस्ड लेके जाओ, काउंटर अटैक, आपके प्लेयर क्या उस लेवल पे, जैसे सर ने बोला, फिटनेस वाइज उस तरह से है कि क्या वो उस तरह से डिफेंड कर पाएंगे. दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट थिंग. एंड व्हाट आर द ऑप्शन यू हैव इन सब्स्टिट्यूशन. आई थिंक इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट द स्टार्टिंग 11, क्योंकि आप फर्स्ट 15-16 हमने देखा इंडिया जनरली फर्स्ट हाफ एंड till the time of 50-60 minutes we have done quite well against higher rank opponent also, but last के 20-30 मिनट में उनको भी पता रहता है कि यहाँ पे इंडिया विल डेफिनेटली यू कैन से कि जो इंटेंसिटी वो ड्रॉप होगी, एंड वहां पे उनके पास चांस रहेगा कि हमने देखा इंडिया ने लास्ट 20 मिनट में काफी बार 2-3 गोल कंसीड किए हैं. दैट इज द बिग चैलेंज फॉर मी. एंड आई थिंक उसका सॉल्यूशन अगर, या फिर जो बेंच से भी प्लेयर आ रहे हैं, वो अगर वो क्वालिटी या फिर वो क्या बोलते हैं प्लान को एग्जीक्यूट कर पाते हैं, देन डेफिनेटली वी हैव अ चांस. एंड पोजीशन फुटबॉल भी खेलेंगे तो आई थिंक ज्यादा हम हॉरिजॉन्टल फुटबॉल ही उसमें होगी. वर्टिकलिटी आई डोंट थिंक सो कि उसमें उतनी ज्यादा हम ऐड कर पाएंगे, अदरवाइज वी विल लूज अ बॉल. आई थिंक तो वाली चीज है. बट आई थिंक रादर टेकिंग टू मच रिस्क. आई थिंक थोड़ा सा हमें क्या बोलते कि वो अप्रोच रखना पड़ेगा कि जहाँ पे आपके पास बॉल हो, एंड I think control will be really really crucial, and that's why I think midfield का जो रोल है वो मेरे को सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट लगता है कि अपुया एंड सुरेश का रोल. I think how they are going to win the ball, कितनी जल्दी आप बॉल को रिकवर करते हो, that is the most important thing, कि जो आपको गेम में बनाए रखने में क्या बोलते कि एक क्रूशियल रोल प्ले करेगा.
Yeah, in terms of approach, there are people in the chat giving their opinion. Amal saying sit back. Rupam also saying sit back, pragmatic. So yeah, quite a few people who are saying, let's just play on the counter and let them have the ball. Um, yeah, Nawab. Well, if that is the approach, if the approach is to sit back, do you not feel like at some point we will give in? Instead, we should sort of just go and you know what, play our attacking football, play with freedom, and let's take what we get. Or do you think we can sort of defend for that long, and our defenders can concentrate for such long periods?
I think we have to be honest to ourselves that if we look at where we stand at this moment in Asian football, that Australia and Uzbekistan are amongst the best teams that we can face in the continent. These are teams of a level, of a standard, which we are not. We have to be honest about them. So the first thing is to try and avoid is getting thrashed. That's the first thing that the coach has to think about. And there I go back. Anwar Ali, that miss in this team is the worst thing that could have happened to us. Because this boy is an exceptional centre back.
Yeah.
So that means that our defense, whoever comes in, and there's no disrespect to any of the other defenders, but none of the other defenders who are coming in replacing Anwar are of the standard, of the quality that Anwar brings. Not only in defense, but also in dead ball situations, potentially corners with his headers and other things as well. So I have to find a way as India head coach. Forget talking about possession and this and that and everything. We play this, we play that. No, you have to be smart. I remember Bob Houghton used to always say that when we went into the game against Australia in 2011. He always used to say that, said, I have to see how we defend. Now, you will say, okay, we lost 4-0 against Australia. Yeah, 5-2 to Bahrain, 4-1 to South Korea. Again, if we didn't work on our defensive shape, we would have lost double digits in all matches. That is the difference. So our difference at the moment, if we take Bangladesh as a benchmark, Bangladesh lost 6-7-0 against Australia. 5 or 6 is at the moment, which would be the benchmark. So how can we reduce the number of goals conceded? Because, very importantly said, if we are trying to physically play 90 minutes against those teams, we will tire after 45 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and that is something which is a reality. Therefore, Hiren very rightly is saying, who are your substitutes? That's why my concern is that we don't have another defensive midfield option. We discussed Udanta and all that stuff multiple times, but again, our reality is that again, potentially Vineet Rai most probably would have been that kind of a player who you could have chucked in and said, close shop. Plays with Apuya, knows him well, would have made sense. Not there. So we have to live with what we have. And that is my concern, that we have so many wingers. But who is the other one? If Deepak Tangri doesn't start, I guess at least Deepak is there. Deepak Tangri for half an hour will do you a job.
Yeah.
You will fight. Vikram would be one of the players I would like to see as a substitute. Half an hour on the wing, fight it out, stop the opponent. Because he was playing that even in the Champions League, he was playing as a right winger, as a right defensive winger in that. So that is the thing. So therefore, again, and we've not even spoken about Syria so far. If I was looking at the Syria squad, they've got multiple players who are born in Europe and in South America. Again, Lord Baker is talking about Palestine. Palestine has multiple players who are born in Europe or in South and Central America. So that is something which I find where Igor will have to find his first 11 and then already think, who is my number 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16, depending on the situation.
Yeah. Rishikesh is saying that Bournemouth striker Dominic Solanke has some Indian roots. Very interesting. I wasn't aware of this. So yeah, another potential player.
Yeah, but he's played for England, so he's out of the question.
That's
And he's like, and he could be a potential candidate with, if he scores more goals, he will play the Euros for England. So again, we need to change our rules first before looking at names. Again, the names are known.
Exactly.
The rules have to be changed by the government of India to allow that. Again, and again, we're talking about Syria. We've spoken recently about Malaysia. We can talk about Palestine. We can talk about Lebanon, Indonesia, Thailand, all these countries. You know, even Japan. I was reading that their number one goalkeeper going into the tournament is an American-born Japanese.
Japanese, yes.
So it is for us, you know, that we shouldn't be having this discussion. You know, if you had a Danny Bath at the back of our defense with Sandesh Jingan, you know, we wouldn't have this discussion. It would be a different game.
Different game, exactly. Totally different.
So
Jan Danda is a attacking midfielder. Completely.
Jan Danda potentially would not even get into my team. There are other better players, but anyway, that's a different discussion. But the point here is, for us, this is the team. We have to live with it. Yeah, it's going to be something. Yeah, we'll have to see. And again,
as a hypothetical question, what will be your starting 11 if OCI and PI are allowed? पहले बता दीजिए आप, ठीक है चलो.
If I have to think, I would have to go through a list. 1 second. Which of the OCIs would I get involved? See, someone I would have loved to have seen for us, but he's recently played for Austria. Manpreet Zakaria would have been a perfect striker for us. I would look at, again, due to experience, and because he's said it now, and he said it to me, I think about 10 years back when we met in London. A Danny Bath would be someone. Jan Danda would come in. Potentially a Rohan Luthra as a keeper at Cardiff City. You know, Rohan might be someone. We've got Dylan Markandee, who's there. As attacking midfielder, most probably a Brinder Singh could be in there. Shan Hundal, who's now moving from Vancouver to Valor FC in the Canadian Premier League. So it's going to be interesting because Dos Santos as a striker is just moving from Atletico Ottawa to Inter Kashi. So that will be a very interesting one. If we can
Arjun
get
Rekhi bol rahe
Arjun Rekhi could be potentially, yes. But I think as a right back, Sai Sajdev would be an interesting one. England under 19. So you know, Simraj Singh Thandi could be another one who's now just gone transferred to Cyprus, or is staying in Cyprus. Sorry. So therefore, yeah, that's those would be, again, we could, you know, we've got Harpreet Singh Gotra in Frankfurt as an attacking midfielder. Again, I can put in a whole OCI squad together, but who works, who doesn't work? Yeah, it's a question. Sarpreet Singh no longer is eligible for us. Sarpreet Singh has played for the New Zealand E national team. So therefore, there are certain players: Manpreet Zakaria, Harpreet Singh, Harmeet Singh, also the Norwegian-born midfielder. All these guys are no longer eligible for us. So there are multiple of those players who are not. And yeah, so therefore that's a reality. And the question is not who we would play or not. You know, it's something. We will have to see. Let's see.
Yeah, Brijesh is asking us to talk about the Uzbeks. We did, Brijesh, for the first 20 odd minutes. In case you want to catch that, you can just rewind and you can. But anyways, just a quick refresher. Hiren, threats from Uzbekistan. What needs to be nullified?
I think almost हमने सारी चीजें तो डिस्कस कर ही ली है. I think it's more about कि हमारे प्लेयर कैसे एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं. I think they have a clear plan, and already मुंबई सिटी के साथ जो उज्बेकिस्तान क्लब नवभोर का मैच था, वहां पे भी एक्सपीरियंस है हमें. एंड मोहन बगान ने भी 2-3 साल पहले जब नासाब के साथ खेला था, तो आई थिंक उनके क्लब के साथ हमारे आईएसएल के क्लब ने ऑलरेडी खेल रखा है. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि एकदम से आप क्या बोलते हैं कि नए ओपोनेंट के साथ खेल रहे हो कि जिनके प्लेयरों के साथ आपको एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है. तो आई थिंक कुछ आपके प्लेयरों को आइडिया होगा ऑब्वियसली, and Serbian manager है उनके पास. So this is an interesting Croatian versus Serbian. I think there will be there is always I find it very interesting. So I think it will be an interesting battle, and I think the thing which matter for us also I think is the first match result कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया के सामने हम किस तरह की लॉस लेके आ रहे हैं या फिर किस तरह का रिजल्ट लेके आ रहे हैं. That will be definitely affect our performance in Uzbekistan. And उज्बेकिस्तान का भी सीरिया के सामने गेम आई थिंक अगर सीरिया वहां पे कोई क्या बोलते हैं कि बड़ा अपसेट करता है मे बी अ ड्रॉ देन उज्बेकिस्तान इज ऑल्सो लॉट ऑफ अंडर प्रेशर बिकॉज उनको फिर इंडिया के सामने रिजल्ट चाहिए ही चाहिए क्योंकि उनके सामने भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया वाला गेम आई थिंक इट विल बी अ टफ गेम. भले ही वो टक्कर जरूर दे सकते हैं एंड मे बी जीत भी सकते हैं यू नेवर नो बट आई थिंक तो आई थिंक उसके ऊपर काफी ज्यादा रिलाई करेगा कि किस तरह से उनका गेम प्लान रहता है बट आई थिंक इंडिया विल पुट अप अ गुड फाइट. मैं इतना तो एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा हूँ एंड आई एम नॉट सीइंग अ थ्रेसिंग टू बी ऑनेस्ट. आई थिंक अगर इफ वी गो विद द प्रॉपर प्लान आई एम नॉट सीइंग कि वी आर गोइंग टू बी थ्रेस्ड लाइक 4-0 3-0 5-0 टाइप. सो दैट्स माय एक्सपेक्टेशन कि एटलीस्ट हम अच्छी फाइट पुट अप करेंगे एंड वी विल बी इन द गेम.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I know you say this a lot. Nil all is what the game starts with. So going into it, if we sort of play out 45 minutes of the game, is there a chance that we could sort of sneak a little winner in somewhere late? Or do you think it's not possible for India to sort of concentrate for long periods and defend and keep a clean sheet?
I think our
And
problem in all three matches will be, and again, it's wisely being said by a number of people on the chat as well, that these are three opponents of a level which you normally don't play. And we saw that against Qatar, where again I know a lot of people spoke about the difference of standard of the top Asian nations and where we stand. Very interesting. The top Asian nations actually have their own set of problems when they play with teams from the rest of the world, the best teams. Yeah. Take a little, I think, Japan out at the moment. Japan has been getting quite, substantial results over the last 1.5 years. So therefore, for us, it's a tough ask, especially also with the tiredness that these players are coming in from the ISL injuries. Some of our best players are missing. So I hope that from a mentality, from a physical aspect, we are ready. Because if we talk about the tactical side, these teams are better. They're better than us. So we have to try and get. We have to be.
Yeah. Hiren, well, I think it's yeah. No, you were saying.
Sorry. So I think for us, they are of a different level, and we need to be prepared to suffer. And if that suffering means that we concede the ball for 80-90% of the period, but somehow can get a result out of it, why not? I mean, Japan is the prime example, right? They beat Spain and Germany with about 20% of possession. So therefore, again, but we are not Japan. That's also a reality. So therefore, let's see what we can do. I think important will be, especially against the longer we can keep Australia 0-0.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the key thing that we can and to Lord Beke about everyone. Of course, everyone is missing players, but everyone has the backup. Most of these teams have an option B and an option C. We don't even have an option B, right? And these are realities. Our players, and I go back again, our players have played so many matches since the last 1.5 years. Some of the players have not had a break. And that at some stage will take its toll. I mean, think about it that I don't know if you've read about this whole Onana deal that he plays one day for Man U and the next day he's supposed to play for Cameroon in the African Cup of Nations. It is insane. But those kind of things are happening now. So therefore, for me, we have to do our best. We know that we have our issues and our problems, but those players who are there, they have to give their best.
Hiren, again, this is the sort of message I think that we will carry along both matches, Australia and Uzbekistan. Just go out there and give your 100%. Be ready to suffer, and we know we're not going to have the ball probably for long periods, and they're going to be tough games. But any quick transfer news that you want to share? Anything that sort of popped up in your circles? Yeah,
Your club is looking for intercaste striker.
Yeah, no, we need a striker.
And that means Curtis Main, Tata bye bye.
Yeah. I think we discussed. Yeah.
I think that was a Simon Grayson signing, by the way. Curtis Main. So I think that makes sense. कि यहाँ पे जाने ट्रांसफर into when Marco ने अच्छा भी किया है, 3 goals and 7 assists in 9 matches. So he's been I think अच्छा एक supporting role play कर सकते हैं सुनील छेत्री के साथ you can see second striker for is a out and out number 9. That would be a perfect signing for you.
Curtis Main is disappointed. I think we've spoken about this a few times. He doesn't look like he's of the quality to really be starting for BFC. So yeah, he's been pretty.
What's your thought of? I want to know from both of you. What's your thought about the jersey?
Oh yeah. There'll be some people asking in the chat as well. Amal, I know.
What to say? It's a jersey. It doesn't inspire me at all.
At all, exactly, sir. At all, यही तो दिक्कत है.
It's again at the last one. Again, I was there when 656 the partnership was announced, when the jersey was launched. Sunil launched it with some other players, with Stephen Constant. There was a Stephen Constant press conference, a huge press gathering in Delhi. There's nothing. I mean, I don't know. I know the AFF is doing some stuff on PR and media and again. Lord Beke, it's not a question of funds. It's not the question of funds. This is to create a new jersey is not a question of if you have money or not, because it's not on the federation. It's on the kit supplier, kit manufacturer. And this one is it's. I mean, it was. No one knew. One day to the next, suddenly India is wearing a different brand, or people were wearing. 656 was you put a patch over it and then wait for the new stuff to come in. It's not the way this is supposed to be. A kit launch, especially for an Asian Cup. This is our World Cup. So again,
एक सर मेरे को मतलब पीठ से तो मैं डिसअपॉइंटेड हुई, क्योंकि प्लेन जर्सीज भी हमने काफी सारी ऐसी देखी है कि जो बहुत ही बढ़िया होती है, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली इन लोगों ने उसमें भी कुछ नहीं कर पाए. एंड दूसरी चीज में जिस तरह से मतलब AFC की मीडिया टीम AFF की मीडिया टीम जिस तरह से चीजें कर रही, आई एम रियली डिसअपॉइंटेड. मतलब इतना बड़ा टूर्नामेंट है, आई थिंक दे आर द ओनली वन की जो मतलब सबसे क्या बोलते हैं कि बेकार सा काम कर रहे हैं. आप देखिए नो योर ब्लू टाइगर, एक पोस्ट डाल देना, इतना मैच खेला है, उससे क्या है नो योर टाइगर. एटलीस्ट वीडियो तो बना उसका 1 मिनट का, जो गोल स्कोर किए उसने जो मैच में डेब्यू किया था उसका स्टार्टिंग का क्लिप दिखाओ. आपको मेहनत कुछ करनी नहीं है, आपने सीधा ही पोस्ट. इसमें मतलब क्या एक्साइटमेंट आएगी? आपकी जो कंटेंट है कुछ भी मतलब बिल्कुल थर्ड क्लास कंटेंट, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, थर्ड क्लास कंटेंट.
Hiren's very vocal and very upset, clearly, but fair enough. I mean,
the furious is back.
Yeah.
नहीं, एक चीज आप मेरे को बताओ, नो योर ब्लू टाइगर, सहल अब्दुल समद का फोटो डाला, साइड में स्टेट लिख दिए, तो ये तो मैं गूगल में देख लेता हूँ, उसमें मेरे को क्या नया देखने को मिला? प्लेयर का एक आध गोल दिखाओ, आप उसका कुछ मोमेंट्स दिखाओ, उसके बाद लास्ट में दिखाओ ना कि हाँ भाई इतना मैच खेला है, इतना इसने गोल स्कोर किया. थोड़ा सा तो कुछ एंगेजिंग बनाओ. इसमें क्या एंगेजिंग है ये मेरे को बताओ. आपने स्कोर अनाउंसमेंट किया, बाकी कंट्रीज का आपने स्कोर अनाउंसमेंट देखा ना? ये मेरे वीडियो यार, ग्रेट वीडियोस.
प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस, प्रॉपर प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस ना. Australia did I think Graham Arnold, I think, answered for nearly an hour questions from the media.
आवर यस हाँ यस
So
उसने सारे एक्सप्लेनेशन किए कि इन प्लेयरों को क्यों चूज किया गया, इसको क्यों नहीं चूज किया गया है, इसको क्यों यहाँ पे मौका दिया गया, एवरीथिंग इज एक्सप्लेन।
Yeah.
दूसरा आपने ट्रेनिंग का वीडियो देखा होगा, बाकी कंट्रीज के ट्रेनिंग के वीडियो देखो, लगता है कि नहीं भाई प्रॉपर, हाँ हाँ इन लोगों को क्या ही अब ऐसे थर्ड क्वालिटी क्या बोलते कैमरा यूज करके बना दिया।
Datta is asking, can we draw against the mighty Socceroos?
see, if it's difficult, na? You know, and the reality is, a lot has to work our way if we want to hold who want an upset against Australia or against Uzbekistan. You know, a lot has to go in our way. Again, in football, everything is possible. So that's my hope, my wish. But the reality is you know, let's see what happens. But and again, and with all that has happened, with all, you know, the hope is the last thing left. I think that's the last thing left
एग्जैक्टly
now.
उसी
And
के
that
ऊपर
is my
जीना है,
concern.
उसी के ऊपर जीना है।
That is my concern about everything that is said, is done. Yeah, I mean, Hiren just mentioned what has been the problem, but again, that to me would not be a problem. There are much bigger structural problems. Raul and I have spoken about it. A video will come out tomorrow about, you know, expectations in regard to sort of the top 5 things that needs to be changed in Indian football in 2024. And that's the real, and you know, these are the realities, but nobody speaks about them. That's our biggest thing. You know, we are fighting shadow battles. Again, the jersey, yes, it's a problem, but it's one of those problems which I don't care about. Media, fine, nice. Again, if the product on the field is better, if we are better, if we're able to compete, all of these things would not be a topic, because these things will happen automatically. So that's the problem. So that's the interlink. I think we need to work on a lot of things to grow Indian football. So therefore, yeah, it's going to be it's a challenge.
पर
It's a
दिक्कत
challenge.
सर,
Yeah.
दिक्कत ये है ना सर, सबको पोजीशन चाहिए, बैठे बैठे सबको पैसा करना है, काम करना नहीं है। दिक्कत ये है, पोजीशन चाहिए भाई कि एएफएफ का मैं ये हूँ, इसका ये हूँ मैं, काम किसी को जो एक्चुअल काम है, हार्डवर्क है, वो नहीं करना। दैट इज द इशू।
No, but the point here is also is that, again, we go into a Nation Cup where the coach has said, you know what, we'll try out a few things and we'll focus on the World Cup qualifiers. You don't do that. In my opinion, you don't do that. You, even if you think, again, what you think and what you say, we were speaking yesterday about it in regard to Mohan Bagan and Juan Ferrando, right? And about how other coaches manage it. Nico Stimac has managed his media quite well. But the point is that certain things, and again, it's something where we have to be honest to ourselves that for us at this stage in the year 2024, the Asian Cup for us is the World Cup.
Yeah,
World Cup.
You know, for us it's the World Cup, period. And we need to take it seriously. We need to put our best foot forward and try to get a result out of it. But you also need to understand that even if we are playing amongst the top 24 nations in Asia, that most of these nations in this tournament are better than us. There is no team that we can go in this tournament and say we will beat easily. Not even one opponent in this tournament. That should be our, you know, where we stand. You know, it needs to be addressed. These problems, these realities need to be addressed. Otherwise, we live in, as I love to say, La La Land. We are being fooled. Left, right, and center. So that's the point, right? It doesn't matter. We need to realize where we stand, be it national team, ISL, I-League, women's game. Where does Indian football in the year at the start of 2024 stand? There's so many people who love this game. Right leadership. I say that again and again.
Yeah. Well, I do really hope that we do put our best foot forward with whatever resources we have right now, and the boys give it their 100%. Less than 10 days left for the Asian Cup. It's sort of heating up, and the excitement sort of building as well. And yeah, thanks Anova, thanks Hiren. guys, we have broken down Uzbekistan for you. Hopefully, it was of help, and you guys are also looking forward to the tournament. And yeah, thanks everyone in the chat. We'll be back. Please like and share these videos. Like Arnava mentioned in the beginning itself, subscribe to the channels Sports Kabri, Arun Foot, Curious Harry, and Indian Food and Football. We'll be back. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.